Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, it's Chaplain Sal back for another coffee talk with the chaplain in my office today. It's a little humid outside, so I figured I'd do it in my office. I do have the window open so you can hear the birds. So I thought I would come to you today and kind of follow up on my chat with you yesterday. Laid on some heavy stuff yesterday concerning the injustice that we see going on in the world right now. I thought about it again this morning as I was going through my Book of Common Worship Pastoral Edition. This is a book that I use as a Presbyterian clergy person. This is our orders of worship. This basically has different orders of worship in it. There's a similar one for the Episcopal Church that I use. And this is the pastoral edition, so it's kind of condensed and made for my type of ministry. So I was going through the communion, because there's a liturgy for communion in the home and hospital, and that's the liturgy I use when I take communion to folks here in our facility. And a big part of Reformed liturgy and theology, when we do communion, is we together as a body, whether it's me and one person or in a church, when I do it at a church, we do a confession and pardon. We confess to each other and to God. So here's the the words of confession in the Presbyterian liturgy. It's very close to the prayer in the Episcopal Church. So it's very close. If you're Episcopal, you might recognize it. Merciful God, we confess that we have sinned against you in thought, word, and deed, by what we have done and what we have left undone. We have not loved you with our whole heart, mind, and strength. We have not loved you or loved our neighbors as ourselves. In your mercy, forgive what we have been, and help us amend what we are, and direct what we shall be, so that we may delight in your will and walk in your ways to glorify your holy name. So that's the prayer of confession. And then we do a silent time of personal confession. And then I, as clergy, not that I'm any more special than anyone, but I take the role of announcing God's forgiveness on all of us, myself, the congregation, the person I'm serving communion to. A confession, and that's based on it's every gospel, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The young lawyer asks, "What is the greatest commandment?" And Jesus says, "The greatest commandment is to love God with your whole heart, mind, and soul, and the second is like it, to love your neighbor as yourself." So every Sunday that we do communion, if you follow this lectionary or this liturgy, we confess that we have not loved God with our whole self, and we have not loved our neighbors as ourselves. We haven't loved God with our whole self because we haven't loved our neighbors, essentially. Forgive us for what we have done, so any act of wrong we have done, but also forgive us for what we have not done. It's in times of injustice like we're currently in, when we stay silent, We are just as guilty for not speaking out against oppression and racism and injustice. If we do not stand by our brothers and sisters of color as they endure injustice, we are guilty. That makes me uncomfortable. I hope it makes you uncomfortable. I admit, when I gave communion recently, I had to confess that. And I'm not trying to sound high and mighty, but I'm trying to sound honest. I have a book in my office called The Face of Jesus. I hate to tell you guys, Jesus was not white. He was Middle Eastern. So in the art world, there are images of Christ in different cultures. Native American. Asian. African. That's Jesus. John Calvin says, "When any time one person is wounded, the heart of God is wounded." We are all created in the image of God. So, to me, as a white person, Jesus is white. As a person of color, Jesus is a person of color. I'm okay with that. Historically, he's a Palestinian, so he would have been Mediterranean or light brown skin. Love God with your whole heart and love your neighbor as yourself. So let me finish with Romans chapter 13. Owe no one anything except to love one another. For the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. The commandments: you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any other commandment are summed up in this word: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of law. We stand for love above all. All right, guys. It's been another coffee talk with Chaplain Sal. Testing out the handlebar mustache. Give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down. It's kind of hard to have a handlebar mustache under a mask. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.